Bienvenidos. In this match, we've got Chowde in the pink playing Teutons against GamerKight in the blue as the Franks. So I'm 90% sure that's supposed to say knight, and I kind of went back and forth debating whether to go with kite or ite, since the K in knight would be silent. Anyway, so both these civs are pretty similar. They both will have a farming bonus, a castle bonus, and a staple bonus. Both have an infantry unique unit, both access bombard cannon, and both have above average win rates. Franks, however, do win more often on both PC and on console. Probably going to see lots of knights in this one, as they both have, well, actually probably the best two knight lines in the game, with extra armor for the Teutons and free bloodlines for the Franks, both having access to all the blacksmith techs and paladin. Would love to see some KP boys here, but probably not going to happen, because even though infantry are kind of better on console, that's more so at lower levels, and the Franks do have a pretty trash archery range, which would be where you get your counter units for Teutonic Knights. They still have hand cannoneer though, which that would be troublesome for our KP friend, the ETK. Already leaving the base, GamerKnight has his scout out here. He barely looked around at home at all, but he has found Chowde and Chowde's boar. So maybe we'll see some laming, maybe some early aggression here. All right, got a lumber camp coming up for GamerKnight, and I actually liked the first spot better before he decided to move it around the corner there. It's going to be a little bit awkward to run back to the TC from that spot if he gets raided. Both players have 7 on food right now, so a bit of an unorthodox build, which is kind of surprising as we're in the top 50. Both of Chowde's actually, I think, even top 20. So higher level Xbox players, but that's, remember, maybe like 1100 ELO compared to PC. That like the top of the console ladder is still like mid compared to PC players. A house wall coming up here for Chowde, kind of on the back, but Blue has found him already, so the early scouting is paying off in that regard. Chowde has not left his base yet. Looks like he's headed out here to grab this boar. And let's see how this goes. Big, that's kind of far from the TC for his herdables there, especially with the early scouting. Could have stolen those. And awkward lore. That's not going to be as efficient as if we were right in front of the TC. This is a really crazy scouting pattern, but he does have the sheep out, or the geese, turkeys, at home here, doing the rest of the exploration for GamerKnight. And we're maybe about to get housed here. 14 out of 15 on our population for Blue. He does, no, it's a mill going up, of course, next to the bears. That'd be an awful place for him. There is a house. All right, as our players round out their Dark Age here, I wanted to mention that one of the guys we're watching here, Chowde, is qualified for Controller Champions, the tournament coming up this week starting on Thursday. $1,000 prize pool exclusively for AoE2 Xbox players. And we've got some good matchups in here. Like I said, Chowde over here on the right facing Zero Blade. And jumping over to the other side of the bracket, check out Frosty. He's got an absolutely brutal path to the final, likely facing Beaverman in the second round, only to then face Mocha and possibly then Beery in the semis. So good luck to him and to everyone else in the tournament here, and let's get back to our match. All right, so both players have transitioned onto berries, and we still have a bit of an unusual build from Chowde, going with 5 on wood, as we've got some idols here finishing up under the TC, quickly retasked as we've got a villager sent out. Let's check out, where is she headed? It's a big flock of turkeys headed back in? Because the second boar is not in this direction. Maybe a misclick, maybe a forward barracks? The scout's over here too, so maybe we are planning something. Oh, are we stealing a boar? All right, let's go. I'm not sure if this is on purpose or if this is just the boar that he had found. I actually lamed a boar on accident on MegaRandom the other day. I pretty much try not to be a lamer, but so you don't always know where they're going to be or how many there's going to be on MegaRandom, and I just took the next one that I found, and it turned out to be my opponent's, but this villager is not going to make it. The scout has just been following, not blocking, and it looks like Blue has got his scout here in the mix also, and is going to try to defend this lame as Chowde gets the second villager in, and this should be, we're shooting the scout, not the boar, and I was going to say that Chowde had this in the bag as he brought it into the TC range and garrisoned the villagers, but Second villager goes down as we do complete the lane, but I don't think it's worth it at this point to lose 2 villagers. Man, if I was blue, I would really want to come back here and try to get that juicy pile of turkeys and llamas as a counter lane in exchange for that boar. But the villager count is actually about even. We must have had some idle time from blue, as we are 18 to 19 despite how pink lost 2. And now 19 to 19 even, all tied back up. He actually has 3 deaths. I must have missed one at some point, or unless there was 3 that went down on that boar and I just can't count. Either way. Harvesting some stragglers in front of the TC. So that's all right timing for that on the way up if he's thinking about converting those 2 into farmers, as those 2 builders are now, that's a satisfying barrack spot, walling off the area between the gold and the wood. Our scout is idle over here. The weak scout at this point, I would just turn on auto scout and just let it do its thing, as it's unlikely to walk right into the TC as you've already explored that area, at least not immediately. That it could auto scout that right corner area while advancing here and getting some more units out at least. Looks like 1 lumber camp for blue, which seems to be coming more into fashion again lately. I know 2 lumber camps was kind of a thing for a little bit. I usually still build 2, but I've been noticing more often, maybe with the faster builds, wanting to save the wood over the efficiency to get your units out as early as possible. In Feudal, that could be the trend there, but this isn't a super fast build though. Going on 21 is, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to make of. So console specific build orders haven't quite evolved yet. I think that is a thing that will happen as the meta is a bit different with how on controller, there's some unique functions for like selecting specific units or sorting within your selection. And you have less ability to focus fire with archers. It's just a bit trickier with the thumbstick. That stop micro works pretty well, but targeting individual units is pretty tricky, which can make infantry a bit more viable than it might normally be, as it's just trickier to... The swordsman sometimes will get more hits in, as stop microing the archers will at times lead to splitting that fire and not getting a kill, allowing the infantry to get in another hit, which can then turn the fight, bringing the archers down, as when you start to lose, we don't have enough of a mass to one-shot anymore. It makes a big difference in your effectiveness. And some aggression here now with the 1 fresh scout from blue who is gonna get forced away here. Lots of idle time on Chowde's end. A 3rd scout coming in and a weak villager headed back to the TC. No, he's going around the mill and goes down. Not sure what Chowde's thinking here. All right, we're fighting back. And that, nope. Chowde scout coming home. A blue scout is super weak and goes down to the spearman there. Chowde's gonna get the clear up here if blue continues to engage. The scouts are all weak and we've got the spearmen out as all of blue's scouts go down. So 3 kills there. The same amount of kills that the players have inflicted on each other. Pink is behind in the KD because he lost 3 villagers in the Dark Age, which would be a disaster in some situations, but we've got a kind of messy, unique build order going on here from both players, so it might not be as big of a deal. Both players are continuing to wall up, and Chowde is going forwards with the spearmen. And quick wall? No. No quick walls. The 3 villagers could just fight that off, though. All right, so wisely, Pink runs away with the spearmen. We've got a 3rd now, but 4 villagers, and the quick walls are now up. We did get a hit in on that house foundation. So the spearmen are going through the hole. All right, spearman rush, let's go. Still no kills, just getting some pokes in. And it doesn't look like that blue needs that house at the moment, so denying it with the spears is not a huge amount of value. Pretty big villager lead. Blue is 5 villagers ahead at this point, and 4 overall in population. So Pink has more military units, but a lot of them are spearmen, which aren't that much of a threat, as they're just gonna doink down the house there, at least chipping away some HP, maybe annoying GamerKnight as he's going for some gold here. Maybe thinking of getting some archers out. Possibly just headed to the next stage though at this point. We're gonna see some counter scouts from purple, which it's maybe a bit late to be adding in some scouts. And a spear battle over here. It looks like blue is expecting the scouts. I don't think he saw the flags on that stable, as pink is gonna walk into the TC, but does retreat before losing any of his spearmen. So pink spear goes down, blue takes the fight and then runs away. As we continue to chip away at our house here. Lots of villagers on gold, and what is going on here with the ghost gold? I guess if you are spectating the opposite player, this is I guess a visual bug that I've got the map set to show. Yeah, it's outside the fog of war on the player that I was watching. We've got the scouts coming in now. That's a decent number of scouts for Chowde. Let's see if we can find some value with these. He should get some villager kills here. These farmers are far from the TC. Blue reacts, is pulling away, and has his own scout in here doing some damage. 2 blue scouts now, but Chowde is getting some villager picks, as the KD is now 6-9. 10 idols for blue due to this rush. As it looks like we've got the gather point from pink set through the town center fire, and the scouts are all gonna go down here. Pretty weak, got the spearmen out. Blue's got the army to defend. And I think that rush was more effective than what we saw initially from our blue player. At least caused some more sustained disruption, but more pink scouts did go down here. That was a larger attack than what we saw from blue earlier. 14-7, lots more kills for blue. And more villagers for blue, so big lead for GamerKnight at this point. He does have a lot of idols though. He's ahead by 4 villagers, but has 5 more idols, so about the same as far as actual gatherers working at this point. Got the site menu going on the mill, so I actually do that a lot, where I'll send a cluster to build a mill like that, and they'll be idle for a second before using the site menu. Will grab the closest available villagers, prioritizing idols, and check out the farming over here, the chaos farms from Chowde. He is not using the site menu, as you can tell this is definitely manual placement. So partial walls still from both players, focusing on the front of the base, and no more production at the minute. A spearman coming out, but nothing else from the stable. Should try playing Kamai with this farm placement. And it looks like we're headed to Castle Age. Got just about the resources to click up here. And our villager population, still blue has a slight edge, but pink has been able to catch up. So more idle TC again from blue, giving up a potential advantage for the second time in the game. As we've got a blacksmith coming down for Chowde, and GamerKnight is on the way to the Castle Age. Pink now on the way to castle as well. And blue has a much more like spread out economy with the farms around the mills. So I'm not sure actually which is necessarily better here, as the farming is going to be more efficient for blue, who goes for the wood upgrade immediately upon getting up and starts producing knights out of both stables. But compared to pink's farming is more around the TC, so maybe fewer villagers at risk, at least before getting handcard. So I guess we'll see how the TC placement comes up for blue. That might change how I feel about that. Armor coming in for the knights on GamerKnight's side as well. It's got villagers in the queue, and is maybe thinking about a castle. We've got a decent amount of stone already, and the Franks do get the cheaper castles, so he's actually only like 30 resources away from being able to drop one. I think you need like 480 something. And no TCs yet. Still producing a few knights. And we are on the way over to attack. We'll see how purple reacts to this as I mark it, and 2 more stables. So we'll have 3 stables from Chowde. And I thought on the minimap, those pink houses were actually Blue's army coming over a second ago. So he's been producing out of both of his stables since aging up, and has now allowed Chowde to also reach the Feudal Age, or the Castle Age, and produce his own knights now out of 3 stables without yet attacking. So missing the window there a little bit. Big villager lead again, though, as Pink was able to catch up while the TC was of course idle to research Castle Age, and now the knights are coming over. So small group of knights from Blue coming in. He's got the scouts mixed in too, including the weak one from earlier. But Pink has had the time to build up some defenses here. He's got a few knights and a lot of spearmen, so I don't see this attack doing a lot of damage, and it looks like GamerKnight realizes that and he's just going to run away. So good decision to not take this engagement, as they have about the same number of knights but lots of spears. Chowde chasing here, but he's going to stop here, not pursuing back towards Blue's base. Forging on the way, he's already got armor, and there's the castle drop, those cheap Frank castles coming up right on the front of Chowde's base. So 10 villagers building the castle, he's got the knights to defend, that should go up, but Pink, he doesn't care about that. He's just like, whatever, bro, I'm just gonna go to your base. Build a castle in my face, I don't care. And another hole in the wall for Blue, as the spearman is oblivious to the knights coming in, as that weak villager goes down. And we're going to see some more kills for purple here. Chaotic game, messy one, that Pink has been getting lots of picks, lots of disruption. And these knights have +1 armor, not +2 yet, so they should run away from the TC fire here, as 3 knights with +1 is not going to be enough to take that down. As it looks like all of Pink's knights will fall to the arrow fire from that TC, as Blue's castle is up, and GamerKnight is then going to steal Pink's stone. Pink is still producing, though, out of all 3 of his stables. No production from Blue at the moment. Well, he does get a few things in the queue, of course, as soon as I mention it. And continuing to raid here with the small groups of knights, as Blue has kept some of his army at home and upgraded to pikemen to help fight this off. The Teutons, their pikemen, are actually a bit stronger, as they're get an armor bonus on both stable and barracks units. But for the Franks, that's of course not going to apply. As our Blue player gets another TC up, basically kissing the previous, so the one farm will be super safe there in the middle, as Chowde is continuing to run around and cause chaos, really using the mobility of the knights here, forcing Blue to defend and stay at home, not pressing from his position established with the forward castle, as he has built a siege workshop, which, again, if he was the Teutons, the siege bonus ironclad would give a little more resistance to melee units, but with all of these knights out, the French siege workshop is maybe going to struggle to keep those units alive. Maybe we're going to see like siege pike as the push there. We'll see if he adds in more of the pikemen. And mangonels on the way out, producing out of 1 stable knights at the moment, no villager production, 47 to 50 overall, so still a lead. Both players have been idling their TC, and both have not completed the full walls, continuing the raiding as we're getting back and forth, ring around the rosy here in Blue's base, with knights everywhere, on the wood, on the farms, on the stone. Despite having army to defend, GamerKnight is having some trouble keeping up with all of the pressure, as Chowde so far has been doing a great job sending his knights all over the place, causing as much disruption to Blue's eco as possible. As he is trying to get the villagers back to work here, the pink knights have grouped up but are continuing to run away. As are we going to escape here? No, we're going to turn back under the TC fire. As looking back over here at Chowde's base, where Blue is getting a bit of damage in, it looks like he did take down the building with castle fire, but most of the action continues to happen over here in GamerKnight's base, as he gets a defensive castle up on this hill, protecting the stone and his farms, and then immediately goes to drop another town center on this rear wood line. I maybe would have put that TC to the north a bit, so it would cover the stone there as well. But he'll have 4 TCs, may be able to produce plenty of villagers to maybe cement his leading position. But it's been, remember, not producing though consistently out of all of them, but and losing tons of villagers to all of these raids. As we're taking an engagement here, going to clear up Pink's army, as that last knight has not much HP, but is going to get away. But of course, that's not the only group. We've got more Pink knights in the eco, attacking the lumber camp next to the new town center. Maybe a misclick there, as those knights are gonna go down without getting any more kills. Nope, do get another villager kill. Maybe a second one even. Nope, just the one. So again, a backwards application of bonuses. We're looking at the Franks base, but the Teutons get to garrison additional units. And Crenellation's castles have a huge amount of range. They actually outrange bombard cannons even. So if the civs were reversed, it might have been better for Gamer Knight, is the long-winded theme that I've been little by little talking about. This is interesting happening here. Denying a castle with 2 knights for the moment, as Blue does delete the castle, avoids losing the stone to the 2 knights there, and Pink has pikemen out as well now. So knight pike for both players. I'm not sure where the line of pikes is headed here. Towards where that castle foundation was. Maybe he thought it was not deleted yet? I don't know. And does defend Blue's raid here for the moment, but is going to lose his stable to the castle fire. And this is maybe a pretty big victory for Blue, as the castle is going back up now in the exact same position where he deleted it a second ago. But the pressure has been pushed back out of Blue's base and now onto the front here, with the castles not quite in Pink's face. You know, securing the middle of the map, just outside of his building walls, as the castles will continue to chip away at those. And Blue is pushing in with knights and pikes of his own against Pink's knights and pikes, as we're seeing a bit of a skirmish here between these buildings. The gold miners are safe for the moment, as Blue does retreat back to his castle fire, seeing additional pikes coming out from Pink. The knights now chipping in on the houses, and we've got a scorpion, which I think is an odd choice again, against all of the knights from Pink, as scorpions strong against infantry. So if you've got a ball of them, they could be good against the pikemen, but without a mass of his own pikes protecting the scorpion, Pink's knights could easily just snipe those individual scorpions without that being much of a threat at all, just a waste of the resources both into the unit itself and the siege workshop. A mangonel added to the mix also for Blue, who should maybe be thinking about Imperial Age and trebuchets at this point, but we've got +2 armor coming in for Pink, as his knights are headed back across the map to continue the pressure in Blue's base once again, where he could even out the villager population with some kills here. But will it be enough to take a better position before Gamer Knight reaches Imperial and gets Trebs and Conscription out? Pink is heading right back in through the same hole, which, I mean, the trees or the wall stops there anyway, so the hole is not as big a deal. But splitting them up again into 4 separate groups and continuing to pick off more villagers, although Blue is ahead with more kills overall. 43 kills, well, 41 now for Pink, who's getting a lot of value again out of this raid, forcing some idle time, getting some kills, and then running off with the knights as Blue's army comes in to defend. Continuing to produce knights and pikes, no villagers in the queue for Chowde, is getting the infantry armor, and there's a set of villagers, 1 out of each TC, and a lone gold miner not garrisoned in the town center. So fights all over the map. This one's kind of wild at the moment, as Blue continues to creep forwards, building another castle, which I hate when Frank players do this to me. Like, it's one of the most annoying strategies in the game. Losing a lot of units, though, to these pikes, as the castle does go up and the villagers are idle underneath it. The castle should range those gold miners, though, which could be a problem for Pink, as he's only got 1 on gold at the moment and not a lot in the bank. So is this a TC coming up here? No, it's a university. Murder holes! Teutons actually do get that for free, so this would have gone a lot better, I think, for Blue if he actually had been just playing this exact same game, but with the Teutons. That's now several times I've mentioned where he's taken an action that would have benefited from a Teuton bonus. Making use of the farming and cavalry bonuses, of course, from the Franks has been very strong in the cheap castles as well. So not to be critical, but just, pointing out an irony in my own commentary here. Producing still plenty of vills, a pikeman, and 2 knights for Pink, who is not letting the pressure from the castle creep get to him, as he did send a big group of villagers out into the map, maybe to build a side base or a safe eco area that Blue hasn't discovered yet. So what are we gonna do? Wait, is this a castle drop? Is this a sneaky town center? I mean, knowing how this game's been going, this is going to be, I'm sure, something absurd. As this has been super chaotic. I love this type of chaotic game. As the villagers enter Blue's economy, maybe Blue is thankful that it is not a bunch of knights at this point. Well, the knights are, of course, immediately following the villagers, completely walking by Blue's castle going up on the side there. Just strolling on in, and are we going to see one right in the heart of the eco? Castle drop, and all right, let's go. That's an awesome castle. I love it. The bravado. This is the castle your girl says not to worry about. I almost wish you would have just put it touching the TC. So it's like, this is your base? No, look at me. This is my base now. So that is gonna go up. An incredibly ballsy castle here with limited military support. He is losing some villagers now, and some knights come over to defend, but that does go up, and the villagers immediately hop inside. Pink, being the Teutons, does have free murder holes. I missed if he actually got crenellations or not at this point. But crenellations castles in the center of your base ranging your entire economy is not the situation. He deletes his town center. He still deletes his starting town center. Rebuilding it, the Imperial Douche. He's gonna be able to range Blue's TC with his TC. He deletes the starting one, I guess, just for style points at this stage, because you, of course, don't need to delete your TC as you would in a Dark Age Douche. Yeah, let's go. Teutons are actually not bad for douching or tower rushing because they get the additional garrison capacity. And crenellations, again, the infantry also fire arrows can be useful. As traditionally, ranged units and villagers fire arrows. It's actually kind of a weird calculation how the ranged damage applies to tower fire. But yeah, so nothing left of Pink's base at home. We've got a smattering of farms around the former TC location. A Teutonic Knight, yes! That house has no chance against these KP boys. So is Blue gonna know what to do against this? Because so far, the KP boys are gonna demolish knights and pikemen. As I don't think we are elite yet, but still 7 base melee armor for the standard Teutonic Knight. Oh, as we can't be elite, we're not in the Imperial Age, which I suppose makes my celebration earlier of the douche a bit premature, but we are on the way up. It looks like Chowde is going to be forced into a Castle Age all-in then at this point, as he's going to have to keep producing as much as he can without much of an economy. There's the response castle in the center where the TC used to stand for Pink. Blacksmith is gonna go down. That could become a factor in preventing access to some upgrades as villagers are battering down the battering ram. I love it. This has been a great siege push. Forget everything I said earlier questioning the siege workshop, as that was completely worth it as a second castle going up for Pink in Blue's base. So two castles and a town center from Chowde inside the center of GamerKnight's base, who is getting some ranged upgrades now, crossbowman, as he's about to hit the Imperial Age. But the Franks don't get Arbalest. However, Chowde being stuck in Castle Age won't have Elite Teutonic Knight either, as a Siege Workshop is also being added then at the back of Blue's former base. Still, maybe his base? I'm not even actually sure whose base is whose at this point, as both player has multiple castles inside of the starting area of their opponent. Blue getting some good raiding in now, revenge for the earlier raids from Pink, as lots of farmers going down from this raid from GamerKnight, who now has 147 kills. This I appreciate the fighting spirit from Pink in this one, but I don't think there's a way that he comes back in this game, as Blue did decide to go for the side TC to grab some of those additional resources and collect them in an area that Pink might not be aware of, so it could be safer from raids, as the couple knights here are taking down Pink's original TCs in his base. Pink still does have the TC up inside of Blue's base, as we've got trebuchets out, conscription on the way, and skirmishers? So maybe skirmishers were, he might have started that train of thought before establishing the new TC on the gold. If gold is running out, maybe not being able to. I love the stone wall on the Trev here, that's sick. But yeah, I don't know about skirmishers against knights. They do have a bonus versus pikemen, not elite skirm though yet, as we've got chemistry on the way, got multiple trebs in the queue, some trebs out. It looks like that the second castle from Pink is going to go down, as let's speed this up a bit, as it seems like Blue really has won this game at this point, where he's got trebs from underneath his own castle and a ram push here from Chowde, but I don't see that being terribly effective, as Blue does have the military to defend. It's hard to ram down a castle that has... We did get murder holes, and being able to produce axemen out of the castle, melee units are great against rams. So lots of villagers in the queue, no military production from Blue at the moment, just a couple skirmishers, as he is going to get the Cavalier upgrade. And Pink is misclicked on some scouts, but continuing to produce knights out of his 3 stables. I think one of those went down, likely a different stable. Yep, a new set of 3 stables going up, as he's trying to reboom over here on the edge of the map in the southeastern area, but Blue does see it. That farm is in Blue's vision, as look at the massive line of sight from the trebuchet here. Continuing to chip away at the farms, sending some axemen over, and clearing up, taking down the TC with elite skirm and crossbow, as Cavalier is in. And we're seeing more villager production, a little bit of Cavalier production, huge amount of wood and stone floating for GamerKnight, despite you keeping a reasonably full queue. So 99 to 42 on the villagers, 170 to 78 KD, 43 to 7 military. So there is really no way that Chowde is going to recover at this point, but he is at least trying to fight on until Blue discovers his side base. As we've got our small party of knights maybe thinking about going in for another raid, but that isn't going to accomplish much at this point, as Blue has plenty of his own military out to defend. So Chowde's not ready to give it up yet. The Cavalier are headed through his former base over to support the trebuchet, as stealing Pink's gold now are these 4 Blue villagers, as the trebs continue to fire on the side base. Blue definitely knows where it is now. At first, the treb was could see the farm and was just kind of auto-firing on the barracks and buildings within its range, but Blue definitely knows where the side base is, and the few knights from Pink come in. They do snipe the treb, actually, but are not going to be enough to hold off this push once Blue moves the rest of his army into position. So only 1 military unit left, and GG from Chowde. All right, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the game, and I'll catch you next week.